Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, a sleeping giant or symbolic bloc. In an era where Western institutions like NATO and the European Union are the usual headline makers in global diplomacy, another force has been steadily gathering momentum beyond the limelight. The Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, or SCO, co-led by geopolitical heavyweights China and Russia, has gradually transformed from a regional pact into a complex multilateral entity that could reshape the future of Eurasia. This is not just another acronym in the soup of international bodies, it's a potential counterweight to Western influence, one that binds together a swath of countries that represents nearly half of the world's population. From its origins as a modest security arrangement among former Soviet and Chinese neighbours to its current form that includes long-standing rivals like India and Pakistan, the SCO's evolution is emblematic of shifting power dynamics in global politics. With its focus on collective security, anti-terrorism, economic integration and infrastructure development, the bloc is laying the groundwork for a new form of regional order. But how cohesive can a group be when its members include some of the world's most acrimonious bilateral relationships? Is this the quiet ascent of a geopolitical titan or the ceremonial gathering of strange bedfellows with diverging dreams? Welcome to the Global Insight. Initially conceived as a collective bulwark against the three evils of terrorism, separatism and extremism, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's early mission was deeply rooted in the security anxieties of post-Soviet Central Asia. These threats, interlinked and volatile, were seen as the principal disruptors of regional stability, particularly in states like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. This urgency culminated in the signing of the Shanghai Convention on Combating Terrorism, Separatism and Extremism in 2001, which established the legal and operational foundations for collaborative counterterrorism. Central to this mission is the SCO's Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, or RATS, headquartered in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. RATS has evolved into a vital coordination hub for intelligence sharing, joint anti-terror drills and synchronized law enforcement strategies across member states. Yet the SCO did not remain a purely security-centric alliance. As China's Belt and Road Initiative gained traction, interweaving its economic ambitions with geopolitical strategy, the SCO transformed into a vital platform for economic and infrastructural collaboration. Under this new vision, the organization has expanded its activities to include energy cooperation, trade facilitation, and infrastructure development. Russia, wary of NATO's expanding footprint and keen to maintain its sway in the region, has aligned with China's vision, leveraging the SCO to forge energy ties and transport corridors across Eurasia. From oil pipelines traversing these steppes to the Grand China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, the SCO is becoming a linchpin of regional connectivity. In parallel, the bloc is actively exploring financial autonomy through joint development banks and regional funding mechanisms, efforts aimed at reducing dependence on Western financial institutions and bolstering economic sovereignty within the Eurasian sphere. The origins of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation trace back to 1996, when the Shanghai Five, comprising China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, came together to address lingering border disputes and build trust in the post-Soviet landscape. What began as a regional security dialogue aimed at reducing military presence along shared borders gradually gained institutional weight. The group's activities were initially confined to confidence-building and demilitarization efforts, reflecting the cautious diplomacy of newly independent Central Asian states and a rising China seeking regional stability. The turning point came in 2001, when the group formalized their cooperation into a permanent intergovernmental body, with the inclusion of Uzbekistan officially establishing the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation on June 15th of that year in Shanghai. This marked the SCO's transition from a limited security dialogue into a structured alliance with a broader mandate. Over the following decade, the SCO steadily expanded its agenda and reach. A significant geopolitical milestone occurred in 2017 when India and Pakistan, two nuclear-armed rivals with a history of conflict, joined as full members during the Astana summit. This bold expansion underscored the SCO's ambitions to act as a continental platform for cooperation, even at the risk of internal discord. Most recently, in September 2023, Iran was admitted as a full member during the summit in Samarkand, adding a key Middle Eastern player to the mix and further extending the organization's geopolitical footprint. This chronological evolution reflects a steady march from localized security cooperation to a sprawling, if often unwieldy, experiment in multilateralism. With its headquarters firmly planted in Beijing, China, the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation operates at the very crossroads of global power shifts. Its geographic expanse is nothing short of monumental, stretching from China's Pacific coast to the European borders of Russia, and from the icy steppes of Central Asia to the warm waters of the Arabian Gulf through Iran and Pakistan. This expansive footprint makes the SCO the largest regional organisation in the world in terms of land coverage, spanning approximately 65% of Eurasia and encompassing nearly 42% of the global population. It is this sweeping scale that grants the SCO its potential as a global force, a platform not only for diplomacy and defence, but for shaping the political and economic contours of the 21st century. Beyond its strategic size, the SCO wields influence through pivotal economic corridors and infrastructural linkages. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, one of the most ambitious projects under China's Belt and Road Initiative, is emblematic of this. Stretching from the bustling port of Gwadar in the Arabian Sea to the ancient city of Kashgar in China's Xinjiang region, CPEC is more than a trade route, it is a geopolitical statement. It facilitates energy flow, trade efficiency and regional cohesion, while also binding South Asia and Central Asia into a more integrated economic space under the SCO's informal stewardship. Through such initiatives, the SCO is not merely a map-spanning organisation, it's becoming the connective tissue of Eurasia's future infrastructure and strategic alliances. The Shanghai Cooperation Organisation has transcended its origins as a regional security pact and now stands as a crucial pillar in the architecture of global geopolitics. In an increasingly fragmented world where alliances are hardening and great power rivalries are intensifying, the SCO has carved out a unique niche. As China's Belt and Road Initiative weaves economic threads across Central Asia and Russia seeks to blunt NATO's reach, the SCO has emerged as a strategic conduit for trade, energy and infrastructure collaboration. It's not merely a forum for regional dialogue, but a geopolitical project, an alternative to the liberal international order dominated by Western institutions. In the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the West responded with sanctions and isolation. In stark contrast, the SCO reiterated its foundational principles: respect for sovereignty, non-interference, and a multipolar world. This divergence was no accident. It reflects the organization's core identity. As the West fractures into the competing blocs and the US-China rivalry deepens, the SCO offers member states a sanctuary from binary alignments. It appeals especially to the Global South, which is increasingly skeptical of Western hegemony and seeks new avenues for diplomatic and economic engagement. The SCO's commitment to sovereignty and dialogue, however imperfectly implemented, resonates with nations eager for a different model of international cooperation, one less dependent on the geopolitical whims of distant superpowers. Despite its grand ambitions and growing global relevance, the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation is far from a seamless alliance. At its core, the SCO functions on the principle of consensus, an idealistic mechanism in a bloc where bitter rivals must often share the same table. This commitment to unanimity, while reflective of the group's diplomatic ethos, often leads to paralysis in the face of contentious issues. Take the simmering tensions between China and India, for example. The 2020 Galwan Valley clashes, where soldiers from both sides engaged in deadly hand-to-hand combat, laid bare the underlying fragility of relations between two of the SCO's most influential members. Meanwhile, the historical animosity between India and Pakistan remains a persistent undercurrent, often stalling efforts at broader regional coordination. Compounding these bilateral tensions is the strategic tug-of-war between China and Russia. While Beijing champions economic integration and infrastructure dominance under its Belt and Road Initiative, Moscow remains cautious, wary of relegating itself to a junior role in a bloc where it once held equal footing. These internal frictions, combined with the SCO's expanding membership, make decision-making increasingly cumbersome. Yet the organisation continues to push forward with its agenda. Its vision includes a more interconnected Eurasia, complete with currency swaps, infrastructure corridors, and a robust regional trade ecosystem. Security cooperation remains on the table, with plans to intensify efforts against terrorism, cybercrime, and narcotics trafficking. Looking further ahead, the SCO aspires to tackle global challenges such as climate change, digital governance, and energy security, domains where Western alliances often falter due to their own divisions. Whether the SCO can overcome its internal contradictions to realise these goals remains one of the most compelling questions in modern geopolitics. From its modest beginnings as a border security pact, the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation has evolved into a formidable, if sometimes unwieldy, geopolitical coalition. Today it commands a sphere of influence that spans from China's manufacturing heartlands to the oil fields of Iran and the steppes of Central Asia. It merges China's economic heft, Russia's military clout, and India's demographic and diplomatic ambition into one sprawling bloc. Yet despite its enormous geographic scope and potential strategic weight, the SCO remains entangled in its internal contradictions, rivalries that fester just beneath the surface, and a consensus-based model that often renders swift, decisive action all but impossible. Still, the allure of the SCO lies in its promise, a Eurasian alternative to Western-led coalitions built on principles of multipolarity, sovereignty, and pragmatic cooperation. Whether this promise will materialize into a reshaped global order or dissipate into a series of symbolic summits and declarations is a question that remains unanswered. That's it from the team at the Global Insight for now. We want to hear what you think. How does the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation impact your view of the global balance of power? Do you know someone whose life has been affected by the policies or projects of the SCO like CPEC or the Belt and Road Initiative? And what do you think about the SCO's role in providing an alternative to Western dominance in global affairs? And as always, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel here at the Global Insight. And until next time, stay tuned.